Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we are pleased to have a return appearance from our friends of Home of Guiding Hands. Joining us is Laurie Purcell. She's the VP of Residential Services. How you doing, Laurie?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for having us here.
Of course. How long have you been with the organization?
I've been with the organization 6 years. I've been in the industry about 40 plus.
Oh, okay, very, very. You must have started when you were an infant. Okay, we'll go with that over here. There you go. Joined by your colleague, Jill Thomas, Development Project Assistant for Home of Guiding Hands. How you doing, Jill?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Of course. How long have you been with the group?
About a year and a half.
Okay, good. And where were you before?
College. Very new.
Where'd you go?
UCSD.
Very good. Go Tritons. Brandon Joe, my associate producer, is a junior at UCSD. Very. What was your major?
Linguistics.
Linguistics.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yes.
So they still teach that these days.
They do. One of the very few at UCSD.
Very good. So how did you wind up with Home of Guiding Hands? How's that tie into linguistics? I guess it does to an extent, correct?
A little bit. I do grant writing now. I was in the residential department, and then I just moved over to grant writing. I started with Home of Guiding Hands as a volunteer.
Yeah.
I volunteered with a couple of our groups, and I just fell in love with the organization, and they hired me on. So I'm happy to be here.
Smart decision over that. Laurie, maybe you can talk a little bit about the mission of Home of Guiding Hands.
Absolutely. Home of Guiding Hands is one of the best nonprofits in San Diego County, and we provide services for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Right.
We serve up to 4,700 people, infants, adolescents, adults, all that kind of stuff. We do residential services, and we also do a whole bunch of respite care and other supports for some of the infants need to be assessed and figured out if they really do have a developmental disability. So we look at all the levels.
Right. You know, we love working with groups like yours, and we work with St. Madeline's, Sophie Center, and always a joy having Deborah Emerson on. She can't come on enough. She brings some of her clients on as well. And all the other wonderful groups that are working at that, Terry, or, to pick a topic,
Absolutely. And I know all of those other industries experts, and it's really wonderful to have some collaborative relationships with those folks as well.
No, it really is. And I think what's great about your, the topic or the field that you folks are in, you all work together. You don't work against each other. And you don't look at it as competition. It's, listen, if it's helping, Home of Guiding Hands, great, or St. Madeline's or Terry or the other ones that are involved, certainly you guys are knee deep in it. And I've always been impressed by your organization, wanting to do that. Of the residential, services, how many of the 4,700 folks or whatever that you serve are actually in the residence?
We currently have 29 group homes.
Okay.
Some of them are 6-bed, Department of Health licensed. Some of them are more 4-bed community service.
Right.
So that we do about 150 individuals live in our group homes.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And, is there a waiting list? And I think probably the answer is absolutely there is. And if there is, will you sit there and say, hey, maybe you should go to Noah Homes, or you should go to some other group that may have some openings?
Absolutely. And I have good relationships with the directors for those other agencies, because sometimes somebody needs different level of care.
Right.
And I know all of the other agencies and can say, they would be better at Noah Homes or Terry Incorporated or Mountain Shadows, those other industries. They also have different levels of care, higher nursing needs or higher medical other issues, and so higher behavioral. So we try to cooperatively look at which agency is going to make the best services for the individual, rather than, I just need that guy to move into my house. We want to make sure it serves the person.
Yeah. Talk about your work with the regional center.
San Diego Regional Center is probably one of the best, I think, in the state. and we have an awesome relationship with them. It's the regional center workers are kind of that third party where there's the social worker that oversees all of the services that are deemed eligible for that person and the funding.
Yeah. So again, we're chatting with Laurie Purcell. She's the VP of Residential Services for Home of Guiding Hands, joined by her colleague Jill Thomas, Development Project Assistant. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast. We're now in our 18th year. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, just doing great things for people living in our region. Talk about, how you folks work with different, I'll start with you on this, Jill, and you jump in as well, Laurie. Do you work with businesses to get jobs for the folks that go through your program? I'll start with you on this, Jill.
Yeah, we definitely do. We have a tailored day program where clients can meet with their social worker and they can find out exactly what they want to do with their day. They can tailor it to volunteering, to jobs. We have a client who's working at SeaWorld right now who we're super excited. She's loving it. And we really make sure that clients get what they want. We're so focused on independence and making sure that the people that we work with really can be the best of their ability.
Right, exactly. Of the 4,700, are all of them doing some type of work, some type of jobs?
Some are,
it
some
depends
aren't.
on their situation,
yeah, it really
right?
depends on their situation and their skill levels. But yeah, and a lot of the folks we serve are children, so they're not working; they're in schools or
Right, exactly. So how do people come to you? Do they come to you from the schools? Do they come to you from other social services agencies? How do they get to you?
A lot of different ways. Some of it's just a random phone call that I get that says, "Hey, I've got a son that I need residential services for," or "How do I get assessments done?" Others, then we refer back to the San Diego Regional Center, which is the funding agent that kind of has to deem the eligibility and set up the vendor. We have to be vendorized through them. So we get calls from all sorts of different places. The referrals officially come through the San Diego Regional Center.
So I ask this question all the time, so I'll just pile on again in a good way. Please tell me that we are getting better at this as humankind, that it's not a stigma when somebody has a physical or developmental disability. Are we making progress in this area? I'll start with you on it, Laurie.
I can give you some wonderful experience on that. Having started my career at the Camarillo State Hospital back when the development centers were called state hospitals.
That's right.
I'm a music therapist, and so I was doing my 5th year internships there. It took me just a short amount of time to realize that we can do a much better job serving individuals who are developmentally disabled. So I started opening group homes right out of the state hospital and have been doing it ever since. I've seen such growth in our industry. We are being more community inclusive. We see that individuals have rights and abilities to be individuals rather than just some patient in a state hospital. So we've made wonderful progress.
Right. And do you work with other organizations that certainly use music as therapy?
Yeah, actually, I do some volunteer work, as does Jill, with Banding Together, which is a music therapy, the California Music Therapy Agency here in San Diego. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we've highlighted folks that are in that space as well. And we know there's science behind that. I have to tell you this. There's absolutely science behind that area as well. Jill, again, I'll start with you on this, but you can certainly pass over to Laurie if you'd like. Talk about the life planning program.
Yeah, our Wendy Smith is in charge of our life planning program. She has so much experience. She also has a child with a disability, so she comes from personal experience as well. It's a great program for anyone who's not sure about what to do when their child or family member with a disability, they're not sure where they're going. Wendy is really great at explaining all the options out there.
Yeah, the growth that our individuals have to have.
Right.
Sometimes the families don't know.
Right.
Yeah. And Wendy gives some really good experience. And it says, here's the direction to take. And when you're ready, make this next step. Sometimes I get phone calls from people who say, I took Wendy's class 10 years ago, and now I'm ready to pull the trigger. Where do we go from here?
Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
No, exactly on it. In one of the groups was talking about music therapy is Resounding Joy. I'm not sure if you work with them at all.
I don't know Resounding. Well, I know them, but I don't work with them.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it's all about music therapy.
Absolutely.
And of course, dealing with mental stress. I mean, you can't talk about mental health. If you don't know about mental health in this planet, then you are not living on this planet or the solar system, for that aspect of it. Laurie, talk a little bit about, the financial challenges that your organization has or the people that can be your clients.
Yeah. Well, the financial challenges for us right now are coming in place with hiring direct support professionals.
Right.
It's very difficult to get people in. Those that come in, like Jill is relatively new to the industry, and she comes in with a really solid heart. And from there, you just get connected and you can't quit. But we have lots of open positions and would love to bring in more people who have that kind of empathy in their mindset. So that's where financial challenges are coming for us, being able to actually provide the services, because there's so many people that need services.
Right.
And limited staff.
Do they, the clients that come through Home of Guiding Hands, do they ever transition out of Home of Guiding Hands and then move on to their next stage or whatever the case may be?
Absolutely. In fact, we just had one individual who made the choice and said, you know what, it's time for me to move up and move out. And he made that choice, and we supported him finding more independence in the community. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here you are, Jill. You are a UCSD graduate in linguistics, and now you're working with Home of Guiding Hands, and good for you for making this. And almost as Laurie is saying, the folks that work in your space need to have the heart as big as our, planet and so forth, and the empathy and so forth on it. What have you learned the most about, okay, I'm going to sit there and try doing this. What have you loved most about Home of Guiding Hands?
There is so much I love about Home of Guiding Hands.
We got a couple hours.
Perfect. I'm going to need it. I'd have to say the thing that's most impactful for me has to be the Client Social Club. That is a group of staff members and clients, and we all work together as a group to create events about what the clients want to see. So my favorite part has to be the independence that Home of Guiding Hands we really exemplify that independence. And so this Client Social Club, we've put on small events like bingo, karaoke. We've done big events like a Valentine's Day ball. And we have an upcoming Witches and Wizards Halloween monster mash kind of thing. So it's so exciting to get to see the clients out socializing, having fun, because the law only says clients need to be out. They only need to go out once per month. But we go over and beyond that because that's what's important.
Yeah, when we come back from break, Jill and Laurie, let's talk about some of those events you're talking about. And I know you have a golf tournament that's coming up in February. I believe you had mentioned, right? Or upcoming.
A run walk.
A run walk. So very good. What was the golf tournament? I was recently.
That was just last Friday.
Okay, right.
Yeah, a week ago.
Well, I want to talk about that as well. And then we can get ready for it next year if it's always happening at the same time. And we always spend time. What can we do? What can our listeners do to support your efforts? Obviously, shout out the great work you're doing, of course. Donate, volunteer, give product or whatever. So give some thought to that when we return with Laurie Purcell. She is the VP of Residential Services for Home of Guiding Hands, joined by her colleague, Jill Thomas, Development Project Assistant. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you're listening to another edition of the Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades. Doing great things for people living in San Diego County. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We're brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We are chatting with our good friends from the Home of Guiding Hands, Laurie Purcell, VP of Residential Services, joined by Development Project Assistant Jill Thomas. And Jill, you were just chatting about some of the events that are going on, Halloween stuff and all that business. And so Laurie, you said you just finished up a golf tournament. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did out at Sequan Resort, the Singing Hills Golf Course last Friday. We did phenomenal. We had wonderful participation. A lot of our clients come and get to do high fives and send-offs as we go out.
Nice.
The main thing there is for us to get some outside connections and get some donations. And so we got a lot of nice donations that really help support the fun stuff that we do.
Right. Now, is that always held about the same time of year?
Yeah, this was our 42nd. And I know. And it's in October every year.
Yeah, that's
pretty close.
Yeah. But you had something coming up, a run walk in February, is that right?
Yeah, I'll let Jill talk about that.
Are you in charge of that?
Not in charge, but definitely helping with it.
Okay, very good. Tell us about it.
So February 1st, we have a run, walk, and roll at Deonza Cove. We're really excited. It's about a 5K, but we don't measure it exactly. A lot of the clients will be there. It's a really great event to just come out and kind of see what Home of Guiding Hands is about.
Now, you said run, walk, and roll?
Yes.
As in ROLL?
Yes. We do have some people in wheelchairs, so we have to include them as well.
I was thinking the other roll, like roll down a hill. Okay. So, no, it's in that. That sounds great.
No, rolling in a wheelchair. One thing I want to say about the run walk is that Randy Jones, the Padres Cy Young Award winner, is one of our heavy sponsors. And usually we name the run walk for Randy Jones.
Yeah, Randy's great. I've worked with Randy for quite a while.
We love him too.
He's literally Mr. San Diego times 8,000. And he's always involved with these tournaments and these walks and all that business to shine a light on it. And you brought up something I think that is so important, Laurie, and you can expand on it as well, Jill, is that that's why we've been doing this podcast for 18 years. You can't talk about these things enough. You can't do it for once and say, we'll see you in a year and think it's going to connect. You have to just consistently talk about it. Just sort of, jump on that and say how important that is.
That's one of the things that having a development department makes a difference at. Right. We try to put it out there to the community. We're appreciative of podcasts like you. We do KUSI speaking, and we love to have that kind of communications because right now in these days, people don't pay attention to long-term things. It hits you today. So
that's right.
Listen today, and tomorrow you'll get it again. So we do. Our development center, we send out notices when we get wonderful donors. We do contact regularly, and that's how we keep people connected to us.
Yeah, and I think what's nice about it, you brought up something I think you're so spot on, at least working with your clientele. I'm sure Jill found this out. That's why she's still here, knee deep in it, and probably be here for maybe 40 years. Who knows?
That'd be great.
Exactly. But it's the fact that when you work with your clientele, if you can't smile, if you can't feel good about working with these people and see the smile in their faces, and equally, in some ways as important, if not more important, the smile on their families' faces to say that my son, my daughter, my aunt, my uncle, my fill in the blank, is just so happy in this place. Talk about how important that is for you, Jill, to see that.
It makes my job worth it. It fills my bucket. I have to say, working with the clients, working with the families, that's when I just know that this isn't a job. This is my calling.
Yeah. And we know this, we say this quite a bit on the Spotlight Show, Laurie. It's not just the person you're serving, it's the family you're serving. That is certainly in Home of Guiding Hands DNA, is it not?
Absolutely. We have one of our individuals who won the Client of the Year award last year. his mom was just plain thrilled that she could even take him into Target with her and he wasn't throwing a fit and running away.
That's right.
He's now learned how to be calm. He's learned how to interact with the community. It's just been wonderful. And so the family members give us such wonderful feedback. And that's what keeps our staff happy as well. When the family members say, yay, you guys are making such a difference. Thank you for supporting my son. It really makes a difference.
Well, it's life-changing, for, anybody who has been in that situation. And I've had some friends who have had, either their siblings or some relatives where we just can't go out. He's just, or she's just not ready to do that yet. And we want to be respectful of, the person. We want to have the person shut in a closet, of course, but not quite ready for that. But working with Home Guiding Hands or Noah Homes or, St. Mads, that makes it all the better. And it sounds so obvious, but unless you've been in that situation or people in that situation, it's hard. Do you have people that can come and visit and see what you were doing to get a sense of what is happening?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't do tours of our houses just because you don't tour my house. But if it looks like it's going to be a good fit for you, I want you to come have pizza with us on Friday night. I want the clients and the families to get a feel for the environment and say, yeah, I could live here, or no, I couldn't. Let's make it a dual choice.
Right,
absolutely.
Yeah. How, when you sit down with the potential client and the family, how long does that process take? Obviously it depends on the situation, I imagine.
Yeah,
correct?
If there's a crisis, it can take today.
Really?
Kind of thing. Absolutely. If we have vacancies, but we will definitely try to serve. And if I can't serve the individual, I'll reach out to the other industry providers and do the same.
Right.
Hey, we've got somebody that needs services. Otherwise, it can take, I just moved a guy in from Inland County who it took almost 6 to 12 months to get everything coordinated.
Really?
And some of it is family choices. We don't want to move too quickly, or others is just the state coordination. So it can take a short amount of time and it can take a long amount of time.
Yeah, this really isn't a fair question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I'm sure there's 4 billion examples. I'll start with you on this, Laurie, and you can be thinking about it, Jill, even though you've only been there for a year, but I think you got some stories on it. Is there one just heartwarming story that just jumps out at you? There's probably 4 billion of them. I get it, but is there one that, boy, this really hit a chord with me? Can you think of one?
Yeah, one of my individuals, I think, is somebody who you've met, Beth.
Yeah.
She is a strongly independent woman who previously had to be less independent in her living situation. Right. She has shined. She actually was on the board of directors for Regional Center, and she is the lead in our social club. She has just stepped up to, I'm in charge, and don't tell me that I can't be independent and inclusive in the world. So I really admire Beth.
That's a great story. How about you, Jill? Do you have one that comes to mind?
Yes. At our client social club, we had a Valentine's Day ball. And I got to dance with one of our clients the whole time. And we danced for 30 minutes. I thought, oh, maybe she's got to be tired by now. She's got to want to sit down, have a snack, have some water. Nope. We kept dancing. We danced the entire time and I couldn't be happier.
So now we've got another event for you, a dance marathon. So now what you can do is a dance marathon, raise some money for every minute that have someone sponsor somebody, right? And now I'm going to donate $10 for every minute somebody is dancing with Jill or whomever the case may be. And once again, I've created more work for people that don't have any time in the day to do that. But anyway, something to throw
I like that idea.
Yeah, I think we'll be millionaires.
I know.
Well, I think that's great. I'll start with you on this, Jill, and go over to Laurie. What can our listeners do to support your efforts?
There's a couple things. If you can give money, right now we're doing an employee gift card appeal. So For all of our years that we've been around, 57 years, we've given gift cards at Christmas time for our DSPs. So we're still doing that. But now that we have 1,000 employees, it's a little bit harder than when we had 80.
Right.
So if you can give to that, you can go to our website, guidinghands.org, under ways to help. That'll be there. And if you can't give money, you can also give time. If you'd like to volunteer, our client social club events, our development events, the run, walk, and roll, we could use volunteers. So reach out to info@guidinghands.org.
Very well stated over there. How about you, Laurie?
She just said everything we needed. But no,
Okay.
Recognizing the DSPs, the direct service professionals, and being able to pull them in and make them feel like, yes, I get my regular pay, but it's nice to get an acknowledgement. And we don't get that from the state and the regular funds that we get for providing services. The only way we can meet our goal of being the premier provider is to have outside donations that help us acknowledge our staff or fund the client social club. That's something we came up with on our own, so we don't have any funding for it.
Well, listen, you guys do such great work. And Laurie Purcell and Jill Thomas, so good seeing you. We know this won't be the last time we'll have Home of Guiding Hands back on. As a matter of fact, why don't we make sure you can talk to our friends at Jeanette at BEH Media and get you folks on to promote the February, run walk and get you guys on in January. How's that sound?
Awesome.
Wonderful.
We would love it.
And maybe if it works
Can we get Randy?
Bring Randy in. Tell him Drew Schlosberg wants him in. That'll probably keep him away from right there. No, Randy and I have been buds for a long time. I don't get a chance to see him as much as I'd like to. And think about it. If you do come back in January to promote the run walk, and in February, bring in a client.
Absolutely.
Bring in a client who's either participated in it before or is going to participate in it. How's that sound?
Sounds wonderful. Thank you very much, Drew.
Absolutely my pleasure. Laurie Purcell, VP of Residential Services for Home and Guiding Hands, joined by her colleague, Jill Thomas, Development Project Assistant. I'm Drew Schlosberg. Listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast. Now in our 18th year, brought to you by the very cool folks at Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing great things. People living in San Diego County. We hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.